Hello, Stitchers. It's Nicole. Welcome back to Stitching with Nicole. It is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. Welcome back to my usually weekly cross-stitch, stitching, quilting, all things that require a needle and thread update. I know I skipped last week and I skipped filming all weekend, but I am back this shiny bright Monday morning with my stitching update. We're going to do a little bit of a January recap of everything that I did during January, what I finished almost in January. I'm calling it a win either way. That's the blessing sampler. I also finished Dancer from Barbara Anna, and I had another full finish in January. So most of January, and especially these last 2 weeks, have been spent laser focused on my blessing sampler. So I want to talk about that. I have a little bit of quilting update to share with you. I am doing a quilt along with Fig Tree Quilts, their Valentine's quilt along. I'm a little bit behind on my blocks, but I have all the heart blocks sewn, so that's exciting. And I am going to be working on that this evening, just catching up before the final week comes out, because I want to have that completely sewn together so I can send it off to the quilter for some quilting and hopefully have it back for Valentine's display. I'm going to talk about what my plan is for February. I almost said January, literally. So I know for a lot of you, January felt like the forever month, the month where it lasts forever. And a lot of times January is like that for me. Don't unfriend me, but I felt like it was just like over. So, and maybe that's because I was laser focused on the blessing sampler for the most part. I do want to talk a little bit about that, talk about my plan going forward, as I mentioned, what I'm going to stitch for February. Hopefully, and even though Valentine's falls, halfway through the month, I plan to spend all month long stitching Valentine's stitches, Valentine's smalls here and where, when I can, basically, just to be able to enjoy that, since I didn't stitch any of that during the month of January. I have some wonderful haul to share. I don't know if I have anything I've actually purchased. I will see when I get that all pulled out, but Fat Quarter Shop has sent along some amazing things that I want to share with all of you. So I kind of want to address a couple things. Yes, new microphone. This is hopefully to improve sound quality, channel-wide. I had some issues. You guys may have known that if you follow me for paper crafting, where I do live videos each week. And there was a lot of issues with my old computer. My fault. I spilled some stuff and I think I maybe ruined it. But it was time to upgrade anyway. So I got a new computer and that was great and wonderful. And I do have a mic that I use for voiceover and everything. And I was bringing it in to use here. But I found that because it sits on my table, it picks up a lot of the sound. I'm noisy. I move my hands a lot. So I went ahead and got my big girl mic, and it has an arm and it's wonderful. Actually I don't have them in right now because I'm not live, but it has headphones so I can hear what you guys are hearing. I can hear if there's any weird noises happening. I will put them in here when I start showing all of my stitching. It's fantastic, wonderful, great investment. just for what I do. I know I talked to you guys a little bit in my last video, just reintroducing or introducing myself to any of you that might be new, that I am a full-time YouTube content creator. I do a lot of paper crafting. That is my full-time big girl job. And so it's just something that I do. And my stitching and quilting and felt stitching is just an extension of living a crafty lifestyle. Second thing, new glasses. Yes, sirree. January is always the month that I go for my annual eye exam. You guys have been along with me for the journey of all of the bad things. I tried progressive lenses last year and I tried progressives, wasn't working at all. And I mean, I felt dizzy. It was really, really bad. And I know a lot of you have said either you love or you hate them. And I really felt like something was wrong with me. Now, my eye doctor assured me that there is a percentage of people who they just don't work for. So I end up going back. They remeasure because it definitely, you have to find the right line for that. And if you've had that done, you know this. And they were like, oh, we measured it wrong. So let us do that again. And I should mention that I was having these lenses put into my existing frames. So it was kind of a pain because I couldn't use my frames. That was not probably, that was my error on my part. I should have just bought new frames. But so they went ahead and did that. I go back in, it's only like 20 minutes. They put the new lenses in. Not any better. Like I found myself taking them off constantly. So they're like, well, let's try bifocals. And I'm like, okay. So they did put the bifocals in. I hated them. So I end up going back about summer-ish time, back to my eye doctor, and they want to, redo my exam. Basically, it wasn't something I had to pay for. They just wanted to assure themselves that something wasn't going on with my eyes. And ultimately, we decided to have two pairs of glasses. We had my regular pair of glasses for my distance seeing, and then he wanted me to wear or have a pair of glasses with basically bifocal in the whole thing for close-up reading. I bought these frames. For that, I wore them one time. I told him that. I was honest with him. I said I never wear them. When I was stitching, I would take my regular glasses off because I do use a light and a magnifier, and it was not good for me to see with my prescription for distance. So I would always just take them off. I didn't really need them. But, you're looking up at the TV, things weren't, my prescription is slight, you guys, slight. I did have LASIK surgery about 18 years ago, 19 years ago, maybe. And so my vision has not changed a ton, but it's changed enough that I for sure need it for driving and just, any of that kind of thing. And so when I went in for my eye exam this time, I did say to him, I really, really want to try progressives again. And he laughed and he said, absolutely, because he told me at the time, sometimes when progressives do not work for you the first time, your vision needs to just get a tiny bit worse, basically, or change enough that when you try them again, it's better. So I'm like, well, maybe that's the case for me. My vision didn't change that much from last year, but we decided it had a teeny tiny change. And so I said, well, could I take my existing frame and go ahead and purchase a progressive lens for these? That way I maintained the lenses and the glasses that I had. I wasn't uncomfortable for that time. And he said, sure. And that was early this month. So they called me at the 2-week mark and they said my glasses had not passed, the lenses, had not passed the quality control. And so they actually needed another couple of weeks to do my lenses. And you know what I'm thinking the whole time? I'm thinking, great. They're going to suck. So anyway, I waited. It was not a big deal, whatever. I had glasses, so I wasn't miserable. And they called me last week and said these were in, so I went and got them. And I did get it has a special term. You guys are probably going to know it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Anyway, basically that they will go dark out in the sunlight, a little bit darker. So almost serves as sunglasses, which my dad always used to have those. And I always used to think, oh, but I have reached an age where I must not care anymore. I get it now. I get it, Dad. And so anyway, I got that. I got the progressive lenses. They call me. I go pick them up. They asked me to put them on. I put them on and I'm like, oh, these are fine. I felt it immediately last time, like the dizziness. And I was like, okay, I wore them out. I wore them out. I wore them home. I haven't stopped wearing them. I have no idea what the difference is. I worry just a tiny bit. Not worry, I shouldn't say that, but I do think, I don't know that they ever got them right the first time. I wonder. Or it could just be my prescription changed enough. I don't care. I'm happy. I just walked down to the mailbox a little bit ago and I didn't even realize it till I came inside and it was still kind of dark. And I'm like, oh, why is it so dark? And then I realized I don't know that I have worn them out in the sunlight enough to realize that they did. I wasn't squinting or anything like that. It was fantastic. So that's my long glasses story. I know I had a friend tell me, she goes, man, you were at the eye doctor again? Don't you go a lot? Yeah, not normally. I just was a problem all last year. So I don't foresee me having to go back to the eye doctor until my yearly exam. Woo! So super happy about that. So that's my big news for the last couple weeks. That, and I finished a blessing sampler, which was a lot of stitches. So let's dive into this week's episode. I'm super excited to reconnect and share all of the things with you guys. So let's talk finishes. Finishes since the last time I saw you. And of course, the first one is going to be my blessing sampler, which is October House Fiber Arts Americana Blue. I am so thrilled with how this beauty turned out. I'm going to show it to you all front facing, but I will flip the camera around and do my top down camera. I want to talk a little bit about this, about the size and all of the things and kind of what I learned about myself during this journey of stitching this. Now, I almost finished it all in January. If you follow me on social media, on Instagram, I actually finished it February 1st that night, all like right before midnight. So I'm calling it a win. I'm calling it a win because there were a couple days in January I did not stitch on this. I probably should have. And I will say that the bottom half of this sampler, very much heavy, dense stitching compared to the top. So it took a little more work and I had to hustle to get this finished, but it is absolutely gorgeous. And I am planning to go to Hobby Lobby this week and pick out a frame and get it ordered so that I can lace and finish this. I am thrilled to have this sampler stitched. Okay. So let's put this out here on the table. And I will kind of show it to you in halves. So this is really what I showed you guys in my last video. And a wonderful viewer informed me that I had missed a stitch in the bottom row of this little border here. So I am showing you guys this up close because I really appreciate that. Thank you, because I definitely went in and fixed that. You can look at something that you have stitched or made over and over and not see the mistake. And then, you know, someone else will look at it and it's like glaring obvious. And as soon as she pointed it out, I was like, oh my word, I totally missed that. So thank you. And I am showing you this because I'm going to show you the bottom half. If you guys happen to see any missing stitches, please let me know. I would rather fix it now than get it all framed and finished and find out that I have missed anything else. Okay, so here is the bottom half of the sampler. I had mentioned this in a previous Stitching with Nichol episode that this border was not my favorite to stitch. Well, what's funny is after I had stitched a couple of them and I learned the rhythm of this design, I actually didn't end up minding this quite so much. I found something that worked better than what I had originally been stitching. how I've been doing it. I think, well, I'll just say what I did. I was trying originally to like stitch the whole thing. And so it felt like a lot of back and forth and running my thread underneath other areas so that I didn't have like a long hanging thread in the back. What I ended up doing was stitching like this down this side. And then I stitched down this side. You guys, that made so much more sense. It was so much more of a natural feeling. So I ended up not minding it. What I really didn't love stitching, and I could not find a good rhythm for it, was this. I had no idea that this border right here would be the bane of my existence for finishing. And I did save it to last because I'm not smart. I'll just say it. And that's kind of stunk. What I ended up doing was I first brought all the rest of this border down because it's the same thing from the top to the bottom. I had stitched, I think you guys had seen clear to this, and I'd started like right here. I ended up bringing this little berry border down. I ended up doing just the straight stitches basically across just to kind of give me the framework for my sampler. And I did not fill in between my two solid lines right away. I actually filled that in and then did this. I would do several or a couple of these at a time, and then when I just needed mindless something I didn't have to look at my chart, I went ahead and did this portion. So really, really lovely. Dense stitching. Here's the house was hard, and it was only hard like looking at it. I knew it was going to be a lot of stitching. I knew it was going to be dense stitching. Here's how I broke it down and made it much easier. Originally, I think I was thinking of just stitching. You know what I mean? I realized quickly, don't do that. So I had started up here at the roof line. What I ended up doing was bringing it down, and I did the framework for the house. So basically I had an outline. I should have taken a photo. I did not. So I just had an outline of the house. Like I had part of the roof filled in, but then I had outline. Then I broke it down by section. And really, when you look at the chart, I went ahead and filled in the roof first, and then I did like the boxes here. And then I imagined it this section, and even within that, I had like this piece and this and this. And then I did this piece, and this piece ended up being last, this half of the house. But breaking it down like that really helped make it feel like smaller chunks, smaller successes along the way. Even though these are super easy, the trees are super easy to stitch, that's a lot of coverage. That was a lot of stitching. Those weren't bad though. Those were very easy. Once you figured out the rhythm, that I didn't even have to look at the chart. I just counted how many of the little triangles were in our trees. But the house was a lot of work. It really was. It's beautiful, totally worth it. What I didn't expect to be quite so much work was this quilt. This was not fun to stitch. I did not expect that. I didn't really enjoy this part. I don't know why. It's absolutely adorable and I love it, but that was just not my favorite thing to stitch. What's funny is I didn't think of that of the sewing machine or any of the other things, but I liked stitching the house more than the quilt. Go figure. Anyway, I will say, I feel like my N is a little close over here, but I'm not ripping it out. I considered it, but I'm not going to. The initials on the chart, let's just show the chart cover, shall we? Actually were RS, and I probably should have looked at it a little bit closer and recharted before doing it. But what I did was I stitched this border. I went ahead and did the S just like the chart, and then I went up to the alphabet, found the N on my chart rather, and I stitched it, not realizing I probably should have shifted everything over a little bit because the N was slightly wider than the R. But you guys, it's a sampler. I'm okay with it. It's totally fine. At this point, I don't want to touch it anymore. That's just the truth. Anyway, I'm very happy with it. Super thrilled. So let's give a few details about the sampler, shall we? The sampler stitch count is 247 by 246, so almost square, not quite. I stitched mine on 36 count Winter Brew by R&R. The called for fabric was 36 vintage homespun by R&R. I had Winter Brew in my stash, so that's what I stitched. One strand over 2, and the called for floss is Weeks Dye Works Blue Jeans, and it calls for 5 skeins, and I will tell you, I used almost every bit of that 5 skeins. I was a little worried near the end that I wasn't going to make it. Now, I did have to frog a couple of things, so I probably wasn't as careful with my floss as I should have been. I literally have one strand, not one strand with 6 strands in it. One little strand left. I probably threw away a 1/2 to 3/4 of a strand from my final stitches in the sampler. It's going to measure on 36. It's 13 5/8 by 13 5/8. So super excited to go grab a frame for that this week, and hopefully that will be in soon and I can get to work on that. But that is my Americana Blue Blessing Sampler for 2025. And like I said, I'm calling this a win. Nothing bad happens, as my friend Jessica says, if you don't get it stitched during January. And I should probably talk a little bit. I've seen a couple questions about Blessing Sampler. I don't know a ton about it other than what I've heard other stitchers say, is that they consider it, or I don't know how it started exactly. That's what I should probably say. But you start a stitch on January 1st and you try to finish it by January 31st. It does not have to be a sampler. I am not like a purist in that kind of thing. I did do a sampler, but I don't even know if that is necessary. It's basically just finishing a stitch during that month, and it's supposedly supposed to bless your needle for the year. I gotta be honest, I feel like my needle will be blessed no matter what. But it was a very fun challenge for me to see how I could get that done in a month. And you guys, I got a 247 by 246 count stitch sampler done in 30 days. And I'm going to say 30 days because I know for a fact there was at least 3 to 4 days, probably less than 30 days. There was probably 3 to 4 days that I didn't touch this at all. So that's amazing. And as you're going to see in my little January recap, which is something new that we're going to be doing this year, each month I'll have a little recap of what I've done that month. I feel like I didn't just do this. Yes, it was very, very much heavy Blessing Sampler. This was a lot of stitching, but I did some other things this month, which I think is amazing. And when you put your mind to it, you can achieve a lot of things. I did not let myself get distracted by a lot of new starts and whatnot, which does help. Sometimes you just want to start all the things. That's okay too. You know me, there are no rules. You do you. Absolutely. Okay, you guys, let me put this one away and let's talk about my other finish for, or since I've seen you guys last, even though I have posted it on social media. My second finish is the Dancer by Barbara Anna, which is the beautiful piece from the 2021 Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine that I talked about. So really, in addition to the Blessing Sampler, I also finished this piece from start to finish in January, which is amazing. And this is part of my Stitching Christmas all year. And this was my focal piece, I suppose, if you want to call it that, for January. And I love this piece since I saw it in the magazine, and for whatever reason I was just really inspired to start this this month. Even though Christmas was over, I went ahead and started. I stitched mine with a combination of the called for DMC and overdyed, and I have all of these here. I have also listed them on my Instagram, and I will list them in the description down below in the video here. But When I could, I did go ahead and incorporate the variegated floss because I felt like the overdyed really added interest to Dancer's face and to some of the other areas, the sweater especially. I talked about that last time with how I stitched it to really make the most of that texture. But then there were areas, for example, the antlers are a pretty big area. I would have loved to have used an overdyed, but the overdyeds I tried, I didn't like. So I had started this one, I ripped it out, and I used the called for floss. Great, a great use for maybe using the overdyed floss in your collection. I had a lot of color and cotton I used, as well as classic Colorworks, and then the DMC. The sample was stitched on 32 count basalt splash. I did not have this fabric, and I believe this particular fabric with the splash, like the snowfall look on it, only comes in 32. I prefer stitching on 36 or 40, and so I took some charcoal gray linen from Zweigart from my stash, stitched one strand over two on that fabric. If a chart calls for a dark fabric, 9 times out of 10, I am going to stitch it on the charcoal gray linen from Zweigart. I love it. For me, this is black enough, I suppose, for stitching on. I can see this where stitching on black fabric sometimes is a super big challenge for me. I am going to try it for something again one of these days. I have a couple things I want to stitch, and I'm going to try, but I have this on backup if it doesn't work out, because I do very, very much love this fabric. That's kind of the details for this piece. I did go ahead and stitch the 1823, which is the year, I think I talked about this in my last video, for when that song came out. I had looked it up on Google or whatever because I'm that kind of a nerd. And so I really liked it. I kept it. I didn't have to rechart it in anything. I have had a few questions asking how I'm going to finish this piece. I am actually going to get this framed as well. So when I take my blessing sampler, I will be taking Dancer and picking out frames for both. To me, I just felt like the elegance of a frame was going to be the perfect finish for this. I think I'll like that better than like a small pillow or something. So this is Dancer by Barbara Anna, and just a fun fact, this is my first full stitch. This is my first Barbara Anna stitch. So that was fun to me too, is stitching a new designer to me. Erica Michaels also this month was in January, not this month, in January was a new designer to me, and so was Barbara Anna. So that was really, really fun, kind of breaking out of my normal, regular mold. And I just love, love, love this piece. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what else I stitched in January, basically doing a January recap of what else I stitched on. And I forgot that I actually had 3 FFOs this month. So I grabbed all of those at one time, and I'm going to flip the camera around and show you most of those. However, we do want to talk about our Oh Christmas Tree from Brenda Gervais. And as of this morning, February 3rd, 2025, her website is back and open for purchasing, and you can get Oh Christmas Tree directly from Brenda Gervais at Country Stitches Online. The address shown here on the screen. I will have a link to her shop down in the description below as well. Have fun shopping, friends, and have fun stitching up your own Oh Christmas Tree. I am also going to link right here and down in the description a link to my kind of walkthrough of how I finished the Christmassy version of Oh Christmas Tree during, was that during? No, it was right after Christmas. Yes, I shared it after Christmas. Where I showed you how I actually stitched this. Now, in January, I had a wild hair. This is one of those reasons that it took me till February 1st to finish my blessing samplers, because I kind of squirreled off into finishing Oh Christmas Tree into a wintry version with a blue house instead of the called for red, which I stitched in the previous. Plus I did some snowball picks and kind of just did more of a snowman theme for him for my January display. I can't believe it, but I'm getting ready to put these guys away and get all the Valentine's-y stuff fully out, because Ethan informed me I have a whole bunch of stuff happening in the house. I always thank your children for pointing out things that they find hilarious. I love them so much. Anyhow, so I stitched him, and then the companion, which the name of him is what? Woodland Frosty, I believe. Just a tiny little bit of stitching, but his face is stitched as well. Absolutely darling. Love these, and I loved being able to display them during January. I do finish mine with a little bit of wool felt on the back, and I did the date on him to signify I stitched my winter version during January. Just a great way to kind of add and personalize the date on there, and then he has a little heart on the back of him. That's how I opened and stuffed them. So let me flip around. I know you guys probably have seen them, but it's worth showing again, especially for my monthly recap, which I think is going to be a very fun feature here on my channel, just to really kind of share and show all of those things that I am able to work on in a month. And that I'm sure you guys work on in a month as well. It's always more than what we think. If you were here for one of my earlier videos here in January, I talked a little bit about giving yourself, maybe I should come back, that grace that we stitch way more than what we think we do. We always think we're behind, or we're not doing enough, or we didn't get as much done. And I think that's just human nature. But when you really evaluate, and I encourage you to keep some sort of a calendar, even if you're just writing on your wall calendar what you've stitched, at the end of the month, look at what you have done. And really, I mean, it is amazing how many little X's we are putting into fabric as stitchers every single month. It is a lot. I guarantee you, it's when you look at it this way and you break it down, it is way more than what you think you have done. And I think it really encourages and gives you a wonderful sense of accomplishment when you kind of reevaluate at month end or year end, whatever the case may be, because as always, you get more done than what you think. So give yourself some grace, and let's focus on what we do get stitched and not what we don't. So again, we have Oh Christmas Tree and the Woodland Frosty, but again, her website is up and open for orders. Again, she generally takes a little time off at the end of the year, beginning of the year, just a break and working on new releases and things like that, I believe is what she said. So now you can order, get it stitched and ready for this coming holiday season. Okay, the next thing that I fully finished this month is this Amber Waves Berry by Erica Michaels. And this was my first cross stitch berry, and I could not love this more. This was an exclusive class for my now closed L&S here in Wichita, Kansas, called Heart's Desire. I do not know if this is available for purchase or not. I would reach out to Erica Michaels directly, and I will put a link to her website below to see if it isn't released, if she's planning on releasing it at some point. I do obviously live in Kansas. It's the Sunflower State, but this has a lot of significance to me as well, as January is Kansas Day. Well, that's not the big significance. I've already told you guys. My friend Lori had to tell me when Kansas Day was because I forgot. The big significance is my dad was a wheat farmer. Was a farmer. We had wheat. And I have the best memories of riding the combine with him during wheat harvest. Of one year, my mom being out of town with my brother. I think she had to take him to an allergist appointment, to be honest. And it was wheat harvest, and I was in high school, so I was driving by then, and I had gotten home one evening after dark. So I'm going to guess in the summer months, it was probably 9:30 or so. And it was just my dad and I, but my dad was still out in the field. And what I ended up doing was calling him and saying, "Hey Dad, where are you?" And he told me where to come out to the field and park. And he came around on one pass with the combine, picked me up, and I rode around with him. It's one of my favorite memories of just me being with my dad. And as an older kid, when we were little, it was like my mom took us out to the field and it's like, "Here, kids, here's your dad." But we would go ride with him when we were little. We could both sit in the cab with him, and I just have the best memories of that. My kids, before my dad retired, my older two kids especially remember. I don't know. I think he retired before Ethan was old enough, or maybe before Ethan was born, for Ethan to be able to enjoy that. But my older two thought it was a blast, and I have the best picture of my dad, my uncle, my grandfather, and Brendan, my oldest, all together, generations, just not me, I guess. Anyway, out in the field, and I took a picture of all of them, and my grandfather passed away quite a while ago. And so that is a treasure for sure. I think he passed away, 22 years ago. So it's been 23, maybe. It's been a long time. And so I very much treasure that photo I have of them. And then I have the cutest pictures of Peyton when she was probably 4 or 5 out in the wheat fields. So back in my scrapbooking days, I'm sure I scrapbooked it. If you followed me then, you've probably seen it. But I treasure some of those photos. Anyhow, really fun. So this has a lot of significance to me. It was very easy. It was my first berry, and it will not be my last. I love it. I did some wool felt up here at the top. This pin is from Just Another Button Company, I believe. I might be wrong about that. It came in the kit for this. So, again, reach out to Erica Michaels, find out if this is going to be released, and I will put a link to her customer service down below. Next up, I have not worked on this anymore, but this is now going to be in perma rotation. This is the Love Notes by Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. It's the Hugs and Kisses is what I started on. And this won't take long. I would love to get 2 of these stitched this month, maybe 3, maybe all. That seems like a very lofty goal, but man, if I could do a whole sampler in a month, surely I could get at least a couple of these, right? So again, this is Love Notes by With Thy Needle and Thread, stitched on 40 count milk coffee by XJU Designs. 1 strand over 2, all of the called for floss. This is not it, because I believe it's all DMC. It fell on the ground. And I have this fun little thread bling from Fat Quarter Shop. It's my little Valentine's-y. So I'm going to stitch them all on this 40 count fabric. And I started this month. So that was another start that, something distracting me, I guess, a little bit from the Blessing sampler, but something I actually got some stitches on. And then I have one more new start since I have seen you guys last. And this is something I have been wanting to start for a while. This is the Scarlet House Patriotic Shaker Box set. I do have the shaker box to put this, I'm stitching this round piece right now, on. I started this, I got my little flag and I started on the flowers. I actually made a little blunder somewhere here and I had to rip out, it was part of the flagpole. I was off one. So I've already ripped that out. I am stitching it with all of the called for floss, 1 strand over 2 on 36 count raw. So I am using the called for fabric, the called for floss, everything called for. The shaker box is from, I will tell you, lahays.com, and I will put that information down in the description below. I did get my shaker box from them for this. Just full disclosure, I basically just bought everything as is because I love this so much. I had mentioned this during patriotic stitching last year. I think I had picked all of this up and that I wanted to stitch this. So I'm really, really excited to get this done. This is something else I would love to finish like now. I know this is not necessarily patriotic stitching month, but I would like to, I'm going to keep this out in my basket as something I would like to just go ahead and wrap up, round up, get finished, get FFO'd and ready for patriotic season. Okay, and that is it for my stitching for January. 2 finishes, 3 start finishes, and so start and FFOs, and 2 starts. And I have another start that I will share with you for February coming up next. Okay, I have 1 new start and I'm super excited. I have a very, very fun finish in mind for this. I will not share anything about that until I actually have that. But it is a Valentine's start. So I already have stitched the other part of this chart. Let me flip my camera. So this is the You've Got Love by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I have stitched this love on red fabric. In fact, I will be FFOing quite a lot of things. You're going to see we're going to have a little FFO party for next week's Stitching with Nichol episode. But I wanted to stitch this love piece. Now, I do plan to stitch it and do a heart finish like this at some point. If I can do it this year, maybe, but it's fine if I can't. I'm actually going to do a framed piece for this, and I'm very excited to show you guys my plan for that. I did not iron my fabric, so I apologize. I still have a needle and thread sticking out of here from where I finished stitching last night. But this is 36 count raw by Zweigart. I do apologize. And I am stitching with a white floss on this raw fabric. And I'm stitching 1/2. I'm using raw linen by Color and Cotton for my stitching. And I love a white stitch on a beautiful neutral fabric. I also love white stitching on a beautiful colored fabric. I'm an equal opportunity. I do not love stitching with white. So that is kind of a pain. I know that I have a little problem somewhere. I actually ripped out a couple of the letters or hearts and tried to fix it. And then I decided it was going to be a pain. So I'm actually just going to be moving forward and not going back and fixing anything else here. I think it will all end up okay. No one is really going to know. I don't have that much left. I hope to get it finished stitching either tonight or tomorrow, depending on how much quilting I do today. But absolutely love this, and I'll iron it for you guys when I actually fully finish this guy. But really cute and really fun. I love these charts from Liz Matthews. She has got some of the cutest things, and these are quick stitches. So quick and so fun. And you can do it really in any color you want. You can see she did a beautiful, I don't know, it's either light blue and pink or light gray and pink, which is so pretty, but just really not my kind of color combination for Valentine's. So I opted to kind of go my own way with this. And this is one of those things that's super easy to do. I did that for this piece as well. I don't have it out right now, but you'll probably be seeing it this week because I plan to FFO and then probably just do some social media posts for this. But I'm going to do a little pillow with mine, but it's stitched on red fabric and I love it. Really, really, really fun. So this is my You've Got the Love from Hello from Liz Matthews. And again, just kind of doing my own thing on this. Yes, I did put it in a really big, I stitched it right in the middle of a big piece of fabric. I have a reason. We'll see. I'm probably wasting a little bit, but better too much fabric than not enough is kind of my feeling there. So that is my only new start for now. And now let's talk about plans for this month and for the rest of February and what I plan on working on. In addition to my Smalls Valentine's plans, the Brenda Gervais charts that or stitches I want to do from that book. The next big project, and kind of how I foresee the year going, at least at this point, I'm very excited about this, and I've kind of found myself working towards this goal. In January, I did my blessing sampler. I would like to touch my bigger pieces one a month, basically, and see if I can get them done. So this month, of course, is A Moment in Chalk by Hands On Design. My plan is to finish the blocks this month and work on the scroll work and basically work on it till it's done. I am at that point where if I could just sit down and work on this, I should be able to finish it. It's a lot of white stitching. That's going to stink. It is all 2/2 on 32 count charcoal gray Lugana, but I want to have this piece done, as I've mentioned many times. I had hoped to kind of get back to this. Oh, and speaking of which, you know something I forgot to say I stitched this month? I stitched one of my blocks. I stitched this block this month. So I stitched that also, or not this month, in January. That should have been in the wrap up. But regardless, I wasn't able to get back to this. I needed to get my blessing sampler finished, so this is my priority for February, is to get this piece finished stitching, get my buttons stitched in place, and then go get a frame ordered for this beauty as well. That is, I am giving myself super, super simple goals. Super simple. I would like to touch a Christmas piece this month. I have not chosen which one. I need to probably just go look at that, but we're going to work on this first. I'm thinking that Christmas stitching will likely come in the second half of the month after Valentine's Day. And we'll just see what we get to, because I am stitching on Christmas every month. Dancer was kind of my January. Obviously my snowman that I stitched can also work for that. And this month we'll pick something. Maybe we'll talk about that in next week's video. Let's talk about the quilting I've been up to. So I have made it a very loose goal, or I have a loose goal in my head. Probably not going to share it because that's just asking for failure. But mostly it is to wrap up some of those quilt projects that I have had ongoing for a couple of years at least. And so I've actually worked on that. Plus, I also worked on a new quilt start. So let's talk about that first, because I have it laying out here. Fig Tree Quilts is doing a free quilt along. The last week, I believe, comes out this week, this Wednesday. Still plenty of time to stitch. It's Valentine's themed. I think in my last video, I shared my Winter Walk in the Woods quilt, which was a quilt along at the time a couple of years ago. I absolutely loved participating in that. And so when this Valentine's themed quilt along came up, I thought, yes, I want to partake in that. So I only have the first week's assignment finished. The next 2 weeks' assignments are not hard. And I will say all of my fabric is starched. It just needs to be cut. And in some cases I have cut it, and sewn together. Very, very simple, very easy. So I plan on being caught up in the next couple days before that final week comes out, so that I can have a quilt top to share with you guys in the next week's video. So that I can get that shipped off to my quilter. So let's talk about this. It's the Valentine's Mystery Sew Along. You can find all of the free downloads on the Fig Tree Quilts blog, which I will link down in the description below. And the first week's blocks are these wonderful heart blocks. So the weeks are, the week 1 were heart blocks. Week 2 are all of these little patches, like 4 patches. And week 3 is kind of combining those components to make a larger block. No triangles or anything in these next 2 weeks, so that does cut down on the amount of time, in my opinion. I just simply need to get this all done. Now, I know I mentioned starching. Starching is not something that I have done in the past. It is new for me, and I really I'm loving it, you guys. Loving my starch fabric. I did buy bundles from Fig Tree Quilts. They were scrappy bundles, so it's a hodgepodge of fabric. And the first week's assignment was 13 blocks. So I'm kind of just showing here, I did not do all of my hearts in the same fabric. I did all of my hearts, though, in a fairly solid. When you look at the fabric, you see the red first, and then very scrappy, low volume for the corners, for the whites, if you will. And there are my blocks. So there's 13 of these blocks. And I'm thrilled to get stitching. I am using like a pinky coral fabric that will be for my week 2. You can see these blocks right here. I am using a pinky coral for that, and I will share all of those in my next video as I get all that done. Like I said, I have a goal to kind of get all caught up so that I can hopefully get that all sewn up and shipped off here next week would be ideal, but love that. So that was some sewing. Thrilled with that. That was my new project. My previous project, a couple of years ago, I was partaking in the Simply Stars quilt along with Fat Quarter Shop. I would like to find the picture of the finished quilt. Oh, week 5 finishing. This must be it. So this was a free quilt along with Fat Quarter Shop. You did have to have the Simply Half Yards book from It's So Emma at Fat Quarter Shop. It's beautifully spiral bound, has wonderful instructions in it. Here's what the finished quilt looks like. We're taking different blocks from the book and combining them to make this quilt. I have had cut everything. I have all of my fabric. I am stitching with, or quilting, pardon, with the Bonnie and yes, the Camille Ross Kelly fabric that is being re-released. I lie. I was going to say it's Nantucket Summer, but it's actually the same colors from Nantucket Summer, but from the Dwell collection. So previously, I had done the blocks, those 4 blocks for the corners, and they're pretty big. That was one of the week's assignments. And like I said, I have everything cut. I just don't have it sewn. And I had my week 2 blocks, which are these wonderful little sawtooth star blocks. And we need a ton of these. We actually need 16. And I don't quite have all of mine sewn. I have them in stages, but these are the ones I finished. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have half still to do. Like I said, they are in different stages of being sewn together, and I plan to have those done as well. I have all of the block fabric cut out. I would really love to potentially have this one. Oh, that looks like that needs repressed. I am pressing out. I am hopeful to have this one all sewn together as well, so that I could potentially ship both of my quilts to be quilted at the same time. That would be ideal. But again, this is the Simply Half Yards book. I highly recommend grabbing it if you're interested at all. It's beautifully, beautifully done. You can see some of the quilts here in the book. You can download all of the free guides for the Simply Stars Quilt Along from Fat Quarter Shop, and I will link all of that below. Like, I am like 2 years behind getting my quilt done. None of this fabric is starched. I wasn't starching at that time, so I'm just going with it. I have everything for this quilt, and I love the colors. And I went with all of the blues and the greens, obviously, for my quilt. Blue, green, navies, and a little bit of gray. I have some stitchy kindness that I want to share. First up, I got a beautiful card from Susie that she stitched on. I'm going to kind of tilt it. Look at that beautiful stitching. So, so pretty. Thank you, Susie. I absolutely love this. Then I received a package from hold on, let me look here. Is it Louisa Myers? I hope I'm saying your name right. I apologize. She made this darling card that she sent me, and then she included some wonderful charts that she said she isn't going to stitch and she wanted to offer for giveaways. They are the beautiful Cottage Garden Samplings Fabulous Houses series. So we have the Log Cabin, Haunted House, Fairy House, Tree House, Hobbit House, the Cottage, the Greenhouse. This is my favorite, by the way, and the Castle. So thank you so much. Those will be a giveaway at some point. I appreciate that so much. And then I received a lovely package from Christy, and she had some Ada fabric that she wanted to share with you guys that she had in her stash that she wasn't going to use. I believe it's all 14. And I'm just going to hold it all up. It's a ton of Ada. So I will be incorporating this into some giveaways coming up as well. And thank you so much, Christy, for sending that. Okay, other things I have received before we get to Enable Vision are from the Signs of Christmas. These are the last Christmas charts from that series from Crazy Annie Stitchin'. Designed by Annie B's Folk Art is Santa Express. And thank you for sending along those. Those will also be a giveaway at some point. And then I received some wonderful happy mail from Fat Quarter Shopping, the Sew Sampler, and some other goodies. So we are going to open up the Sew Sampler first, and then I will show you the rest of the wonderful things that Fat Quarter Shop has sent along. Okay. As always, when you open up the Sew Sampler, you have a beautiful presentation. This says Embracing New Possibilities, the January 2025 Sew Sampler box. On the back, there is a code for 15% off charm packs and another quilt idea, QR code and stuff for that. And then in the box this month, this might be my favorite, one of my favorite patterns that they have done. First of all, you get 3 of these basic gray Sunday brunch charm packs. Super, super pretty. Love that. There is always the printout that tells you what everything is valued at. So you are getting all of the charm packs. All of that good stuff. I'm just going to set that to the side. We're probably not going to go all over all of this today. You get the Hot Cross Buns Sew Sampler Complete Piece Pack. It's paper pieces. Oh, that's really cool. So that must be how you put that together. That is an optional idea. This is the quilt. It is the January 2025 Sew Sampler. It's 72.5 square, but I love it. Love this, the design of this, whether you use the charm pack or not. So cute. If you make the lap quilt size, which is the 72.5 square, it tells you what you need. You can also make a twin quilt size, and it tells you that would be 72.5 by 89.5, and it tells you what you need for that. In addition, here is the Hot Cross Buns English Paper Piecing Table Runner, which is what those English paper piecing pieces are for, which is awesome. That is 15 by 49.25. I actually have never done English paper piecing. You're getting some needles, which is great for your English paper piecing. You're getting the thread, and then of course the pattern for the Peaceful Baskets number, the block number 10. This is what I want to work on after I get my Simply Stars Quilt Along finished. I say that, there's always a million things. So I do want to say, I love, love, love this quilt, but I am trying to be super realistic, and I know I personally have way too many quilt projects in the works started. So I am going to be giving this away, minus obviously the Peaceful Baskets pattern, and this will be included in today's giveaway. It'll be one of my giveaways today because I would love to give this to one of you. It is just too pretty, you guys, not to. I love this. I love the fabric. But again, I'm trying something new this year. Don't laugh. Trying not to buy all of the things. I mean, I still buy plenty. But I want to really finish and focus on some of the things I already have. So this will be one of the giveaways in today's video. Okay. The other things from Fat Quarter Shop. Many of these will be in today's giveaway, or be a giveaway today as well. Not all though. So let's see. They sent quite a few things. I'm super excited about this. New cross stitch charts that they have sent along. Their new series. This is the Daisies. It's the Seed Packet series, and this is the Daisy one. Super cute. Also from their Stitch Quarterly 'Tis the Season, they have released just the chart for this now. Those will each be a giveaway this week. Then we have new quilt patterns. We have All American, which I love. I love those houses. Absolutely adorable. And we also have the Avignon. I'm sure I said that wrong. I know it's French. So pretty. Beautiful blocks. Beautiful quilt. Look at the quilt picture down here. Super pretty. So we have some quilt patterns. They sent this along, and I am keeping this one for sure. Jessica, the Sweetwater Stitcher, started stitching it, and it's gorgeous. They sent Vintage Sampler from Lori Holt, and it is gorgeous. So I am going to keep and stitch that at some point. At least that's my plan so far. And then, you guys, they sent the new Denim Bee's Knees bookstand by Lori Holt. Now this comes out in a new color periodically. I have been waiting for this one. I have given away at least one, maybe two of these in the past in different colors. They had yellow, I think they had pink, and now is the blue. This one is mine. I love the blue. This is perfect for putting your quilt book on your desk while you're sewing. You can leave your spiral bound books on this open while you are creating. Let me grab my scissors and open it. And I will show, oh, it has more. It actually has more tape on it than I thought, so let me get that all open. It is a nice heavy metal book stand, so it's not going to easily be knocked over by your quilt books and things like that. Look at this. Let me get rid of that. It has a wonderful little kickstand here on the back. Beautiful display. I mean, you guys, how beautiful is this? Super, super excited. You could even put your cross stitch patterns on this if you have room. If you stitch like at a table or something, that would be amazing. Her bee little logo there, but I am in love with this. Thank you so much, Fat Quarter Shop. And I am going to put a link down in the description below if you would love to pick one of these up for yourself. Highly, highly recommend. Even beautiful to put on your shelf and put some books on it, like kind of as a display in your craft room or whatever. And then obviously to put out while you are working. You can pretend this is like a book. You could open it and stick it in here so easily. It's pretty deep, so you can stick lots of things in here if you're like me and you just kind of keep piling all your stuff onto your little book stand while you are working. But obviously with your bigger books, it's really going to hold them open nicely. So that is the new Bee's Knees book stand from Fat Quarter Shop, and I love it. And it is the color denim if you guys are interested. I am still a part of the Sweetwater Label Club. Sweetwater fabric is one of my absolute favorites. I love, love, love their labels. I've been part of their label club for quite a few years now, and my newest labels came. I will put a link down in the description below if you're interested. If you ever see labels on my quilt, it is from Sweetwater. I love them. Then I did purchase 2 charts from Sherry Colorado Cross Stitcher. I went to her site for this first reason. Well, I'll show you that reason first. So while I'm working on A Moment in Chalk this month, my plan, as long as I get that done and as soon as I am finished with A Moment in Chalk, my next bigger stitch to work, I say bigger, this one is not that big, to work on though is Sally Spencer by Birds of a Feather, and Sherry at Colorado Cross Stitcher is recharting, and I have been crossing my fingers that she would rechart this one and release it. Even though I had the chart borrowed from a friend and was stitching from it, it is microscopic, tiny, not enjoyable to stitch from. And then I did get another working copy from another friend that is blown up and bigger, and it's great. But I had heard from anybody who had purchased any of the new Birds of a Feather charts that they are in color. And if your chart is in color, I'm pretty much going to buy it because that is so much easier to work from. I'm going to just show a little peek. See how it's in color? So I did pick up Sally Spencer from Colorado Cross Stitcher. She is re-releasing and recharting Birds of a Feather charts. Right now, I believe they are only available from her. I believe she said in the future, correct me if I'm wrong, they will be available through other shops, through your LNSs. But I think she said for a year they're exclusive, a year from their release date, if I'm not mistaken. But I picked up Birds of a Feather. If you have not stitched this yet, you want to, I highly recommend picking it up. I am so excited about this, and I'm thrilled to have it now in color. I mean, you guys, I can't show you the chart, but looking at it in color fills my heart with so much joy. So much joy. I cannot wait. It's going to stitch so much faster. I guarantee it. So that was one thing I got. And while I was there, I had to add, and I would like to maybe touch these two, we shall see, but I had to add the Sweetheart pears from Annie Bees because you guys know I love the pears. Now I am going to tell you right now, I'm almost 100% won't stitch them this way. I will probably stitch them on a pink fabric, but I will choose my own floss or a red fabric or a combination. I don't know. I do love the idea of stitching these and adding them to my Valentine's decor. And so I did pick them up to add to my stash, but I did not pick up the Dinky Dyes silks. There are 3 colors used for this because I really do think I will pick my own colors. So that is it as far as Enable Vision and Stitchy Kindness and all of that today. Let's go ahead and move on to giveaway winners and this week's giveaways. All right, giveaway winners from my Stitching with Nichol episode 100. I am giving away the Love and Learning chart from Emily Call. The winner of this chart is Gina Sexton. Gina, if that is your comment there on the screen that you see, please email me at this email address with what you won and your physical mailing address, and I will get that out in the mail to you. Next up, I had a sampler chart that my friend Tabitha wanted to pass along. Plus, I'm going to give you one of these zippered bags. This is the MC sampler from Antique Needleworker. This goes to the Melanie, the House Museum Stitcher. Melanie, if that is your comment, please email me with what you won and your physical mailing address. Okay. Then I was giving away 28 count and 32 count fabrics. I'm actually not going to go ahead and get all of those out. The 28 count fabric bundle goes to Susan Lusk. Susan, again, please email me. If you would please put what you won and your physical mailing address, that makes it a lot easier for me. And the 32 count fabric goes to Evelyn Barola. If that is your comment there on the screen, again, please email me with what you won and your physical mailing address. Congratulations to all of the winners. This week I have another set of 4 giveaways for you guys. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. And I kind of changed up what I think I'm going to give away this week just when I was going through my giveaway collection of things. So some of the charts that might have been new from Fat Quarter Shop might be saved for a future giveaway. So I have one quilting giveaway today, and that is the January So sampler minus the Peaceful Baskets quilt, but everything else I showed you, you are going to get. If you are interested, I'm not going to show it again. Use the words "So sampler" somewhere in your comment for a chance to win this sampler box. I really do love this one, and I want to pass that along to someone who will use it and sew it up. Now, I want to remind all of you guys before I do the rest of the giveaways, please like my channel, please subscribe to my channel, please be a public subscriber to my channel, like the video, leave a comment with the items you're interested in using those keywords on the screen, and please be US only for shipping the physical items. I do require that. Thank you guys so much. Okay. Then as I was going through my basket, I remembered I had multiple Vlogmas, well, not that many, just a handful of Vlogmas prizes that were not claimed. And of course that deadline came and went in January. So I would like to offer these up. So I have 2 Christmas bundles because we are stitching Christmas all year here. And the first one is this wonderful bundle of the Crafty Bluebonnet Designs charts from Christmas season. Thank you to April and Haley for passing these along. We have Candy Cane Spool, Jingle All the Way, the Rudolph Spool. It does come with the cute little lights, and the Cardinal Star Sampler. In addition to these 4 charts, I am also giving away one of the zippered storage bags. If you are interested in winning this prize, use Jingle somewhere in your comment for a chance to win. I also have a Lugana bundle that went unclaimed. This is 25 count Lugana bundle, and we have some vintage country mocha. I'm not sure how much is in here. A lot. Remember, I had a little something started on here, but there's still plenty to stitch. I have some 25 mushroom and some 25 white. This is all Lugana. If you love stitching on 25 count Lugana, this is a great little bundle for you. Use the word Lugana somewhere in your comment for a chance to win this fabric bundle. And finally, today we have one more Christmas bundle that I would like to share with you guys. So I am going to be sending all of it in a zippered project bag, but I am giving away 'Tis the Season from Fat Quarter Shop. One of the Signs of Christmas Santa Express charts. Everything in here is Christmassy, winter related. And then I have gone through my Kitten Stitcher Advent box, and I am giving away a few of the charts that I don't think I will stitch from the box, including the Blue Flower Winter Whale, Ho 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 from Running with Needles and Scissors, And from Bent Creek, the most Season's Greetings row. Goodness, I can't talk. So if you were interested in any of those, even if you don't want all of the charts, but you were interested in some of these, at least for a year exclusives from the Advent box that I am giving away, because Bent Creek, Running with Needles and Scissors, and Blue Flower were all exclusive to the box. Grab this. You could always gift some of the other charts to some of your stitchy friends if you want to, or stitch them all yourself. They are all wonderful charts. If you are interested, use Christmas bundle somewhere in your comment for a chance to win. Okay, you guys, that is all I have for today. Thank you for joining me for another Stitching with Nichol episode. I appreciate you guys so very much. Let me know what you are working on down in the comments. Let me know what you're stitching. If you are a quilter as well, are you doing the free quilt along with Fig Tree Quilts? Are you working on a special quilt of some sort? Let me know. I always love just kind of hearing from you guys and seeing what you guys are stitching. I think that is it for today. Have a wonderful stitchy week, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new Flosstube stitching or quilting video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. So that's great.